Now I want to tell you a story. We're getting ready to do three-way as well, right? So could I have the three-way guys out too? Now the story I want to tell you is kind of a little bit serious. It's about me when I was in 8th grade. I was walking home with a friend of mine, or actually there was a guy in front of me, and he was walking home carrying every single book that he owned. And I'm thinking to myself, this was on a Friday too. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy must be crazy. Because that's not the kind of weekend I was planning. I was planning a weekend of fun and football with my friends. And I just dismissed it as him being some kind of a nerd type of person. Okay, now then what I did was I was watching, and sure enough, 3 guys come barreling around the corner and just ran smack dab into this guy. Well, glasses went flying one way and books went flying the other, and landed face first in the dirt. And I thought to myself, well, I better help this guy because he's from the same karate school I was, because I could tell he had a logo on his hat. Yeah, they ran into him, and I said I better help him. So by the time I got to him, he was searching blindly on his hands and knees for his glasses. I handed him his glasses and helped him with his books, and I said, those guys, they're a bunch of jerks, aren't they? They need to get lives. And he said, he looked up at me, and sure enough, there was a tear in his eye, and he says, I appreciate you helping me. And I said, well, let me help you some more. So I grabbed half his books, and we continued on walking down the road, and I got to talking with him, and I said, what's your name? He says, well, my name's Daryl. He says, my name's Garland. What street do you live on? Oh, I live over on Bryce Drive. Really? I live on Bryce Drive, too? And the more we walked and the more we talked, the more I realized that he wasn't a nerd at all. As a matter of fact, I was pretty impressed with him. I invited him to come join us at the football game, and he did really good at the football game as well. Well, Monday come, and I'm going to school, and I'm walking, and sure enough, Daryl's up there in front of me with all those school books again. I caught up to him, and I says, Daryl, you're going to get all kinds of muscle carrying these books every place you go. And he just laughed and gave me half his books, and we continued on walking down the road up to the school. And over the next 4 years, actually, over the next 4 years, we became pretty good friends. Matter of fact, we became best friends. But on the day that we graduated black belt, I wasn't real, what was happening was he was one of the guys that grew up that really kind of looked good with glasses. Truth be known, he had more girlfriends in high school than I did, and I was kind of jealous of that. But on the day we graduated black belt, I wasn't jealous because he got picked as the best, as the #1 guy, and he got picked to give a speech in front of everybody else. And I looked at him, you could tell he was sweating bullets, so I slapped him on the back and says, don't worry, Daryl, you're going to do great. He gave me that same look again. He says, thanks a lot, I appreciate that. And he got up there, and I watched him, and he cleared his voice, and he says, making it to black belt is a time to show an attitude of gratitude. It's time to be thankful to all the people that helped you through the tough times. You need to be thankful to your parents, of course, to your brothers and sisters. You need to be thankful to your instructor, but most of all, I think you need to be thankful to your friends. And I need to tell you a story. Matter of fact, I want to tell you my story. And I sat there and I listened to him, and to my surprise, he talked about the very first day that he and I met. And he talked about that on that day, he had made a decision earlier to commit suicide. He talked about how he cleared out his locker and was carrying all his books home so that his parents wouldn't have to clear out the locker later. And I looked over his parents on the side, and sure enough, Dad was staring straight at me, and he gave me this nod of approval. It was at that moment in time that I truly understood what Professor Buell taught us so many years ago. I can still hear the words. He says, never underestimate the power of your actions. One kind gesture can change a person's life. Again, never underestimate the power of your actions. One kind gesture can change a person's life. On the day that I was kind to Daryl, unbeknown to me, that saved his life. On the day that he shared that story, that changed my life as well. And really, truly, that's what the martial arts is all about. The martial arts is treating people with courtesy, kindness, and respect so that you have a friend instead of an enemy. That's the value of what the martial arts has to offer. Okay, everybody understand the story? Is it a true one? You bet it is. Okay? Okay. And Daryl, matter of fact, Daryl Poole is his name. He lives up in Denver, Colorado, and he and I go back a long way, and he's still my friend today. There was another one that came in, his name was Michael Bohatch. And all 3 of those individuals are still with me today. As a matter of fact, how are we doing on the bricks? Okay, let me tell you another true story. What happened with Daryl and Mike, we used to like to fight a lot. We were down in Texas, and there's about 12 of us that like to fight. And so we didn't, this was before we were involved in before we got heavily involved in the martial arts. And what happened was that we got into it with a carload of 3 carloads of guys. And as they piled out, I counted 15 of them. 15 against 12. So the 12 of us took off running towards them, and I look over my shoulder, and 9 of the 12 that was with me took off running the other way. So it was 3 against 15. And that day, the 3 of us got the tar beat out of us. And true story, but what happened is there's 2 things that happened after that. Number 1 is we tracked down the other 9 that ran away, and we settled up. Number 2 is those 2 individuals that stayed with me that night are still in my life today. And again, that's Daryl Poole and Mike Bohatch. And that was one of those real important times in my life where I was taught that you surround yourself by people that are going to be loyal to you. But in order to do that, you got to first be loyal to them. So the team of black belts that you see that are up here today have been with me and Mr. Menegdeg and Professor Buell for 10, in most cases, 20 plus years. And we surrounded ourselves. Professor says you surround yourself by smart people, you become smart. And so that's how we became smart, is we surrounded ourselves by smart people. But we also pay attention to the parents in our system as well. So it's an attitude of gratitude that we are blessed tonight to have you stay with us and watch our show. So thank you for doing that. Give yourself a round of applause. And I think we are ready to rock and roll.